Hey everyone, how are you, happy campers, today? That is awesome. Welcome back to KezVlogsDaily, and I'm Kez if you didn't guess. I'm over opinionated and I'm pretty dead inside, but I do like sharing my thoughts with you lovely people, so that's what I'm going to do. Today, I'm becoming a movie critic. But you're not a review channel, Kez. You're supposed to do vlogs. Yep, that is a valid point, Kez. Just pretend for today. Nobody will know. It's our secret. Don't tell no one. Oh my god, what am I even talking about? Right, let's get on with it. Right. Sorry about that. Sorry. So today I want to talk about a very old movie. A movie from the 60s, believe it or not. I remember catching this on one night as a teenager, and I've watched it again for this video, but I did end up turning it off halfway through. It's a little bit weird, but we'll get there. It was actually the title that got me. It was the first time I'd ever heard the word Lolita, and it piqued my interest, so I pretty much left it on. I was only a teenager at the time, like literally 10 years ago. So yeah, but the reason why I'm talking about this is if you thought cuties were bad, like seriously, you're about to drop a nuke on this one. So yeah, stay tuned. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, a legendary director, I'm told. It says it's a comedy drama, but I don't remember laughing much. But I was young though, and at the time I was actually more grossed out and confused. You'll see what I mean. It was only actually when I saw the word again recently and thought, oh, shit, that reminds me of that super creepy film I watched years ago. Let's be a film critic today. Oh yeah, and it was also adapted from a 1955 novel by the same name, Lolita. Okay, so before we go anywhere, let's just see what Professor Google says about the word Lolita. Okay, it literally means a sexually precocious young girl, and precocious is defined as of a child having developed certain abilities or inclinations at an earlier age than is usual or expected. So I guess that's pretty weird. But also, in Japanese culture, the term has been used to describe the Lolita fashion subculture of cute. The style is characterised by like full skirts, petticoats, I don't know what they are, excessive use of lace and ribbons, as a nod to Victorian and Rococo fashions. You fashion gurus out there probably know what that is, but I have no idea. Words commonly used to describe the style include porcelain doll, delicate and childlike. Within the general Lolita style and variations of the fashion, such as Gothic Lolita, Sweet Lolita or Princess Lolita, and also Punk Lolita. These few by no means complete the list of variations, but the Japanese term wasn't popularised until like the 1970s. So, okay. Who stars in this movie, do you ask? Because I mean, it's from like the 60s. I probably don't know any of these guys, and that's very true. But we'll have a little talk about the people that star in it, because they are actually quite well decorated actors. So the film stars James Mason as Humbert, the main character. Sue Lyon as Dolores Hayes, Lolita. Just a footnote here, Sue Lyon was actually 14 when she played this role, so underage. Shelley Winters as Charlotte Hayes, or Lolita's mother, and Peter Sellers as Claire Quilty. I'll give you a little info on these guys just for kicks. So James Neville Mason, who plays Humbert, was born on the 15th of May 1909, and he passed away unfortunately on the 27th of July 1984. Rest in peace. He was an English actor. Mason is widely considered one of the greatest film actors of the 20th century. He achieved considerable success in the British cinema before becoming one of Hollywood's biggest stars. He was at the top of box office attraction in the UK in 1944 and 45, with notable films including The Seventh Veil, The Wicked Lady. He starred in Odd Man Out, and he also was the first recipient of a BAFTA award for Best British Film. So that's pretty cool. Sue Lynn Lyon, who plays Lolita, the young lady, July the 10th, 1964 she was born, and unfortunately passed away 26th of December 2019, so very recently, rest in peace. She was an American actress. She joined the entertainment industry as a model at the age of 13, and later rose to prominence and won a Golden Globe for playing the title role in the film Lolita. Her other film appearances include The Night of the Iguana in 64, Seven Women in 66, Tony Rome in 67, and Evel Knievel in 71. So, yeah. Shelley Winters, who's Lolita's mum, she was born on the 18th of August 1920, and she passed away January the 14th, 2006, so rest in peace yet again. Was also an American actress whose career spanned almost 6 decades. She appeared in numerous films and won an Academy Award for The Diary of Anne Frank in 59, A Patch of Blue in 65, and received nominations for A Place in the Sun 1951, The Poseidon Adventure 1972. Other roles winners include A Double Life in 47, The Night of the Hunter in 55, Lolita in 62, Alfie in 66, Next Stop Greenwich Village in 76, and Pete's Dragon in 77. So she did loads. Peter Sellers, CBE, born Richard Henry Sellers, 8th of September 1925 he was born. He passed away 24th of July 1980, rest in peace. He was also an English film actor, comedian and singer. He performed in the BBC radio comedy series The Goon Show, featured a number of hit comic songs and became known to a worldwide audience through his many film roles, among them Chief Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther film series. Right, enough messing around, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So, it was set in the 1950s. The film begins near the end of the story, one of those sort of weird films that like flashes back. So it starts with a confrontation between two men. One of them, Claire Quilty, drunk and incoherent, plays Chopin's Polonaise in A major on the piano before apparently being shot to death behind a portrait painting of a young woman, with the shots fired from in front of the painting and passing through it. The shooter is Humbert, a middle-aged British professor of French literature. Then the film flashes back to events 4 years earlier. Humbert arrives in Ramsdale, New Hampshire, intending to spend the summer before his professorship begins at Beardsley College, Ohio. He searches for a room to rent, and Charlotte Hayes, portrayed as a sexually frustrated widow, invites him to stay at her house. He declines, but until seeing her daughter, Dolores, affectionately called Lolita. Lolita is a soda pop drinking, gun snapping, overly flirtatious teenager with whom Humbert becomes infatuated. And if you think that sounds weird and wrong, that's because it is. See where I'm going with this now? So, to be close to Lolita, Humbert accepts Charlotte's offer and becomes a lodger in the Hayes household. But Charlotte wants all of Humb's time for herself and soon announces she'll be sending Lolita to an all-girls sleepaway camp for the summer. After the Hayeses depart for camp, the maid gives Humbert a letter from Charlotte, confessing her love for him and demanding he vacate at once unless he feels the same way. The letter says that if Humbert is still at the house when she returns, well, Charlotte will know her love is requited and he must marry her. Though he roars with laughter while reading this sadly heartfelt yet characteristically overblown letter, Humbert marries Charlotte. Things turn sour after the couple. In the absence of the child, glum Humbert becomes more withdrawn and Charlotte grows increasingly unfulfilled and upset. So this is where it starts to get a little bit juicier. By juicy, I mean weird. So Charlotte discovers Humbert's diary entries, detailing his passion for Lolita and characterising her as the Hayes woman, the cow, the obnoxious mama, the brainless baba. She has an intense outburst, runs outside, and is hit by a car, dying on impact. Damn. Humbert drives to Camp Climax. Wait, Camp Climax? Really? Camp Climax? Oh, whatever. So, to pick up Lolita, who does not know yet her mother is dead. They stay the night in a hotel. This is handling an overflowing flux of police officers attending a convention. One of the guests, a pushy, abrasive stranger, insinuates himself upon Humbert and keeps steering the conversation to his beautiful little daughter, who is asleep upstairs. The stranger implies that he too is a policeman and repeats, too often, that he thinks Humbert is normal. So this part was really, really creepy. So this random dude tries to hit on someone's underage daughter, but like to her dad, it doesn't make any sense. And frankly, it's just a really weird sort of scene. But it actually gets a lot worse, so just bear with us. Humbert escapes the man's advances, and the next morning, it's made clear that Humbert had had sex with Lolita. Bearing in mind Lolita is underage in the film and underage in real life. Okay. Then the two commence an odyssey across the United States, travelling from hotel to motel. In public, They act as father and daughter. Again, honestly, the only thing I can say about this whole bit is just wow, how on God's green earth did they get away with this? Honestly, it's awful to watch, it really is. But moving forward, after several days, Humbert tells Lolita that her mother is not sick in the hospital, as he had previously told her, but dead. Grief-stricken, she stays with Humbert. In the fall, Humbert reports to his position at Beardsley College and enrolls Lolita in high school there. Before long, people start to wonder about the relationship between father and his overprotected daughter. Humbert worries about her involvement with the school play and with male classmates. One night, he returns home to find Dr. Zempf, a pushy, abrasive stranger, sitting in his darkened living room. Zempf, speaking with a thick German accent, claims to be from Lolita's school and wants to discuss the knowledge of the facts of life. By this point of the film, I'm just starting to wonder where the chicken this whole debacle is going. Like, I just really want this guy to get caught. And honestly, this scene is the only reason I continued watching. If it hadn't been for this little bit, I would have turned it off here. Like, seriously. But like, at this point I'm thinking, right, maybe this guy's out to get him and he knows something's going on, so... Okay, so he convinces Humbert to allow Lolita to participate in the school play, for which she had been selected to play the leading role. While attending a performance of the play, Humbert learns that Lolita has been lying about how she was spending her Saturday afternoons, when she claimed to be at piano practice. They got into a row, and Humbert decides to leave Beardsley College and take Lolita on the road again. Lolita objects at first, but then suddenly changes her mind and seems very enthusiastic. On the road, Humbert soon realises they are being followed by a mysterious car that never drops away but never quite catches up. However, Lolita becomes sick. He takes her to the hospital, but when he returns to pick her up, she's gone. Dun, da, da! I was pretty happy she got away, but I mean, still, like, where the hell could she have gone? So the nurse tells him she left with another man claiming to be her uncle. Humbert is noticeably devastated, and he pretty much has no clue where she is. So, some years later, I'm not even joking, that is literally the next scene, some years later. Like, ugh. Humbert receives a letter from Mrs. Richard T. Schiller, Lolita's married name. She writes to him and tells him now she's married to a man named Dick, and that she is pregnant and in desperate need of money. What? Is this some joke? Ugh. Humbert travels to their home and finds that she is now a roundly expectant woman in a glass leading a peasant humdrum life. Humbert demands that she tells him who kidnapped her 3 years earlier. She tells him it was Claire Quilty, the man who was following them, who is a famous playwright and to whom her mother had a fling with in the Ramsdale days. She states Quilty is also the one who disguised himself as Dr. Zempf, the pushy stranger who kept crossing their path. Lolita herself carried on an affair with him and left him when he promised her glamour. Okay. However, he then demanded she join his depraved lifestyle, including acting in his art films, which she vehemently refused. Humbert begs Lolita to leave her husband and come away with him, but she declines. Humbert gives Lolita $13,000, explaining it's her money from the sale of her mother's house, and leaves to shoot Quilty in his mansion, where the film began. The epilogue explains that Humbert died of coronary thrombosis awaiting trial for Quilty's murder. Well, what a disaster of a film that was. I honestly don't even know how to feel after that. I mean, as you can see, the film has little to no direction and it's pretty much centered around this guy's sexual obsession with a child. It's honestly really uncomfortable to watch and it has some really alarming undertones. Like I say, the actor who plays Lolita is actually a 14-year-old girl, not just someone who looks young but is mentally older. Whatever. I just can't help but feel totally grossed out by this film. So by now, I'm guessing you know why I'm talking about this film. But what does get me is how it can not only be a thing, but seemingly a success. We did have something similar recently with the Cuties movie on Netflix, and people were rightfully mad. So how did this one do well when it's blatantly worse and doesn't even try to hide it? Here's what a critic said at the time. So Greg Jenkins believes that Humbert is imbued with a fundamental likability in this film that he does not necessarily have in the novel. He has a debonair quality in the film. Debonair just means like confident and stylish, while in the novel he can be perceived as much more repulsive. Humbert's two mental breakdowns leading to sanatorium stays before meeting Lolita are entirely omitted in the film, as are his earlier unsuccessful relationships with women his own age, whom he refers to in the novel as terrestrial women. through which he's tried to stabilise himself. His lifelong complexes around young girls are largely concealed in the film, and Lolita appears older than her novelistic counterpart, both leading Jenkins to comment, "A story originally told from the edge of a moral abyss is fast moving towards safer ground." In short, the novel early flags Humbert as a both mentally unsound and obsessively infatuated with young girls in a way the film never does. Which obviously makes a big difference, because I don't think anybody would have liked it if he really was like super creep, but I honestly still think it was like super creepy. Here's another little bit that I found. The film has been reappraised by critics over time, and currently has a score of 91% on Rotten Tomatoes from just 43 reviews. The critical consensus reads, Kubrick's Lolita adapts its seemingly unadaptable source material with a sly comedic touch and a sterling performance by James Mason that transforms the controversial novel into something refreshingly new without sacrificing its essential edge, filmmaker David Lynch has said. The film was a commercial success, produced on a budget of $2 million, and Lolita grossed nearly $10 million domestically during its initial run. The movie has earned an estimated $4.5 million in North American rentals. Years after the film released, it has been re-released on VHS, Laserdisc, DVD and Blu-ray, and it earned $3.7 million in rentals in the US on VHS. Wait, what the hell's a Laserdisc? Have you ever heard of I've never heard of a Laserdisc. Let's see what Professor Google says. So, Professor Google says it's a home video format and the first commercial optical disc. Initially licensed, sold and marketed as MCA DiscoVision, and simply known as DiscoVision in the United States in 1978. Although the format was capable of offering higher quality video and audio than its consumer rivals, VHS and Betamax videotape, Laserdisc never managed to gain widespread use in North America, largely due to its high costs and players and videos, titles themselves, and the inability to record TV programs. Okay, you do learn something new every day. So, I guess I'll try summarise here. I wanted to talk about this because I'm interested to know what others think about this. I don't think it's a very well known film. I mean, surely somebody else would have called it out for being a little bit inappropriate. Do you think it crossed the line? Or is that just sort of me? How do you think this film would be received today? Or is that like just a stupid question? Honestly, do you know they actually remade it in the 90s as well, like 99 I think, and nobody even said out about it then either. So, I mean, it's just crazy to see how much the times have changed, and, like, this is the proof if you needed any more, like. So, I guess that'll be it for today, guys and gals. I hope you somewhat enjoyed my little overview of the weirdest film I've ever seen. Maybe you learnt a thing or two, and seeing as we've been googling random shit the whole time, maybe. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you made it this far, I've got to commend you for being able to sit through extended periods of time with me talking. Honestly, kudos, guys. There will be more videos about me talking about stuff, so sub me if that's something you might enjoy. If anyone out there has got anything they'd like me to cover, I'm open for suggestions. I've been Kez today, and probably will continue to be, all being well. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace!